Hello, this is Narang SSCU 380 UMass Global. Today I'll be talking about big data in food industry and what it means from data interpretation. This is one of my favorite quote, where there's a smoke, there's a business fire. What it literally means is that when the data is not working really well for a company or an organization which relies so much on the data, a problem in the data can be translated into that smoke, which means basically the business is getting into the fire. That's why a right approach, getting focused on data analytics and how it can translate into more predictive insights analytics for an organization could lead companies to be more beneficial and profitable. When it comes to food industry, I think one of the biggest focus is how do we collect many streams of data into one, which allows industry to not only understand that erratic behavior of consumer, but also understand that as how much can be done to support operational capabilities, sales growth, and many other things. And basically that is a way to approach the bottom line. Now you're wondering, who am I and what I'm doing here? So just to give you a little bit more brief, my name is Narang. I'm an enterprise data consultant. I've been into food and beverage industry for almost more than 18 years. And my expertise is in basically data science, data story, and predictive analysis. If you're wondering what is a data consultant is nothing but a system consultant who's expert on the data. Somebody who can really understand how to bring the data and analyze together in a more meaningful way so it can translate into insights which helps the business. And also understand that how the data can be collected and managed in a way where it helps the business. Now, as I'm presenting this slide and I'm approaching towards the project I'm going to work on, I would like to share some of my objectives. As part of my role, I will be basically providing consulting guidance on data management and data governance related principles. It's basically making sure that we're inputting external client proposal as when necessary. I will be helping with the design and manage database and workflows. It focused on business operations. I will be also focusing on developing concepts, data model to improve processes and add strategies to the value of the business, which means I will not be only just doing the data modeling, but I'll also give us an options and ideas that how we can improve our businesses and what additional things we can do which can allow us to increase our growth. I'll be focusing on joining up necessary stakeholders and cross departments to make sure that there's an alignment of what needs to be done and what is our objective and how data is supposed to help us. I will also work with different groups within our organization, including engineering team, GAD, GMP, to consult on data usage across our and their client portfolio. And last, I will make sure that we cross-sell and deliver on data projects for key clients, focused on growing revenues and producing case studies to promote data science and services. This one is very important because I will not be only focusing on how we can improve the business, but how the future of food industry will be changing and how we need to make a better steps to make sure that we focus on delivering a value. Now, as I work through this project, my focus is going to be basically building and improving your customer base, our market share, how do we increase our sales growth, how do we improve our customer services. As we're doing that, how do we make sure that our corporate ethics and risks are mitigated? And then last but not least is how do we are going to manage our operational excellence. Now, when it comes to data and what's the future of food industry means, there are so many innovations already happening. Now, we are just not looking at the sales growth as one of the data set, but we are also trying to collect data from sensors, from devices, from network, from video, digital images, which is giving us a lot more information to make sure that we have a multiple layer of information, multiple layer of data to make decisions which are helping not only us as an organization, but also our consumer. And this will also help us to make sure that we stay ahead in a competitive edge against our competitors. Now I'll talk about that, where we are in the current state of our data interpretation and where we stand today. I have realized that our team today is just focusing on three factors when it comes to data collection and where we need to focus in terms of growing our business. It's quality control, which means we are trying to monitor our entire supply chain, very specific to getting our products out and delivering on to the stores. We are looking at efficiency, which basically making sure that we have weather reports, we can boost our on-time delivery, and then price monitoring. And then the third use case is around improved insights, which means we have a little bit more data to understand that what kind of feedback customer is providing. How can we improve our things and our offerings, which allows our consumer to be more attracted to our stuff. Most of the data has been broken down into, as you can see on the screen, is pretty much customer service and demand fulfillment, faster and effective reaction to our users and to our supply chain. How do we increase the supply chain by 10%? Greater integration across supply chain, sensor integration productivity, and then best customer, and then so forth, so on. Now, this is great. This has been helping the business to be where we are. However, we're still lacking on a few things. And my intention is to bring those to the surface, not only define that why do we care about it, but what's the value look like, and overall how it is going to help us to meet our objective. Now, as the team is focusing on these set of data today, we're still missing a big piece. Now, this is where it starts coming around, that is what's going on, why we are focusing on a specific set of data, which is what's going on today, not what's going to happen in the future. If you look at these graphs, you can easily see that is most of our team is focused around the green dots, where the business is going really well, it's going really good, but we are missing the red dot, which is basically that there is a potential growth for us to get there, but also there are issues which is emerging and we are ignoring them. I feel like that we need to start collecting more data, which allows us to get a little bit more information on what are those risks, what are those challenges. The other thing I have realized is that as in our data, that most of our value in terms of how much we need to get the promote out there to scale and center, we are not focusing on that. In fact, in the last few months, our number have been going down, although we feel like profitable in terms of selling our products and getting the revenue we need. We still are exposing some of the issues which can cause a bigger harm at a longer term. On the other side, I'm realizing that we have realized through the data is that we have process which we are measuring. However, that processes are giving us a current time completely missing around our deviations, and then how do we forecast better market. And this deviation is not just related to our supply chain and operational capability, but a lot more, and I'll talk about that in the next few slides. But also, how do we take data to start building a better forecast? With that, if you talk about our challenges and risks today, with the way we're collecting data, we're still struggling with satisfying our customer needs. Some of our customers are happy, some of them are not. We don't have enough amount of data to know why they're not happy. Accessibility of raw material is all over. We don't have a real insights into how do we build a forecast and demand forecasting to collect our raw material ahead of our demand supply. Capacity constraints is always there. The reason is capacity constraints because we are not optimizing our storage versus how do we get stuff out into the supply chain so we can deliver things out in the stores. I did realize that our time of storing food in our storage is way longer than getting that out into the market, and that's the reason that the time the food is sitting in the storage is reducing down our shelf life. And there's a lot of data which is sharing that our food is being returned because it does not have a shelf life we really intend to be. Transportation issues, innovation gear, and some of our competitors are really hitting really hard. and we need to stay ahead of them. And last and least is that as we're dealing through this, data security regulations, ethics, that is something which can hit us really hard. In terms of emerging issues, there's a whole behavior concept which is changing around our users, especially with the COVID. They are buying things online, and we don't have a very good digital marketplace structure, which puts us in a little bit of back forward. Although they're buying product, but again, they're not buying the way they are supposed to. And in my presentation, I'll share many examples where there are companies who have done really well on changing their business model to make sure that the whole idea around digital ordering, digital procurement, marketplace helps them still get their food out there, even when people are worried about their safety with the COVID and pandemic and everything. Fruit production in the long run is going to be another issue. Artificial intelligence technology. As much as we are doing the investments, I feel like our investments could be done more in the right way to make sure that we have a clear objective around what we are trying to do. The artificial intelligence is going to help us to give us a lot more data. My only concern would be that how do we make sure that the data is much more worthwhile for us? And my plan is to fix those issues. Our workforce is basically managing our workforce in terms of hiring, training, management, corporate culture. That is going to be one of our emerging issues down the line. And we need to start collecting data insights to make sure that we stay ahead of that issue. And I already talked about new marketplace, which means we need to make sure that there's an easy way for our consumers to understand what food we have, how to order it, understand the basic line around how organic is better for them, so forth, so on. That drives the whole idea around that. As we thinking through our next steps through this whole data analytics and insights and data interpretation, we need to start focusing on meeting our customer demands. We need to make sure that our pricing are competitive and we don't lose our margin. At the same time, we don't stay behind the market. How we're going to do our labor management and then inventory planning. Now, we talked about our issues, but the idea that is what is going to happen or what we are trying to achieve as we solve these issues. Just want to share with you that the global organic market has been increased a lot. And from this slide, you can see that is the $180.4 billion market share is keep increasing. And in last 3 years, the online market has been increased. On the other side, there's data which is predicting that the organic food is keep increasing compared to any other organic beverages or non-organic beverages. That gives another opportunity for us to make sure that we can take a advantage of this market and build a better insights analytics to be part of that market share. As the organic sales across US is gone down, the profit is still going up, which means the price is going up. And every vendor at this point is thinking that how can they bring down the cost down? Because right now it feels like very profitable, but in the long run, it may not be. With that, the last image here in the slides share that how our sales has been increased overall in a global footprint in last 4 years. In terms of our sales going up close to 300%. We are developing new markets, but still we have a very fuelless market when it comes to how do we supply our products in US. We also have noticed that when it comes to South Africa and other countries in Asia, our market footprint is still smaller, and that gives an opportunity for us to do more and get more stuff out there. There's overall 89% of growth in terms of how much acre of food production we are gaining. And I feel like this will continue to grow. We have an opportunity in our hand where basically we can start leveraging technology, machine learning, data analytics to be part of that market share. Now, when it comes to food industry and technology, what exactly can do and what that should look like is, at this point, when we look at the technology and what it is doing for us is, It's helping us to solve a very complex issues. It is helping us to understand that how can we start doing consumer engagement and segmentation, so that allows us to focus on the industry where people are still trying to learn and develop and habit to start getting organic foods and start ordering that. There's this whole idea also around that is, as we're stepping into the future, everything need to be smart. We need to leverage IoT, sensors, devices, cell phones, and even extended that into AR, VR communication to make sure that we have a lot more data to predict that what is the sense of a food, what is the quality of a food, what is the coloring of the food, and the whole idea around tracking in terms of barcode and scanner, where we can predict that when the food was growth, how long it took for food to be in the store, and then what was the shelf life. Technology will start helping us that. And then the other aspect of it, which is very critical, is the technology will also allow us to improve our communication with the consumers. Omnichannel experiences, reaching out to the customer, not giving them just food, but giving them more new recipes so they can build more stuff. Tweak the recipes based on demand supply. In terms of, let's say that this year, orange grew more than anything else. Can we build new recipes around oranges so we can communicate that to our consumers? We can tell them the benefits of the oranges. That's where the technology will come in hand. Overall, technology is going to help us with the health aspect of food and our consumer, and then take that as an advantage to sell it. It's going to impact our production in terms of producing our organic foods, but also understanding the nature of the soil, the weather. How can we predict and then make sure that we have a right pH level in the food, in the soil, so that we have a better food. Fresh, it'll help us to basically make sure that our fresh, clean labels are natural. Novel experiences, convenience, transparency and traceability, food quality, and logistics. This way we see a bigger value around that, how technology can help us as we are looking into these things for our organization, especially for this project, which I'm going to lead. Here are some of the target states where we want to start focusing on data collection and modeling. We will look at quality control in terms of health management, enhance our efficiency, improve insights, improve our market share in terms of not just be profitable, but also make sure that socially we have a presence in the market in terms of our branding and everything. Customer sentiment analysis, that's another data set where basically we need to start looking into that. How do we build new models to promote our market growth there? We'll start looking at predicting our lifespan of our products in terms of making sure that we get a bigger shelf life without spending millions of dollars in the storage, supply chain management, and then demand forecasting. Now, when it comes to that, when we take this data collection and start building modeling, what exactly that is going to do for us? It's going to help us with quality control in terms of how we are managing quality, in terms of growing the food, picking up the food, packaging, getting it on the site, and all that stuff. It will also help us with supply management, making our marketplace more digital, our consumer sentiments, collecting that data, predicting our life cycle in terms of which vegetable we need to keep more, which less. Do we need to make sure that we are not leveraging a less life cycle foods with high life cycle food supply? So that way there's a better control on the shelf life. Last but not least is the efficiency and insights. This is where it allows us that the food we are picking up from the farms, is that a good quality? And how do we control that? As we look through these values and our focus area, we have started looking into some new use cases. And those new use cases are basically making sure that we are doing predictive monitoring and maintenance. This is in terms of managing our machinery, managing our sensors, managing temperatures, managing overall monitoring and maintenance for our system so that we have a less downtime. Surface sorting in terms of how do we make sure that we bring more intelligent analytics and insights into food sorting in terms of shape, in terms of color, etc., etc., etc. One of the use case comes in there, that is how do we sort between red potatoes and white potatoes? Machines can do that, and there's a data which basically is kind of sort of changing that perception, that can we start leveraging that. A new recipes formulation, I had already talked about that. As we look at through the growth of a year, can we use that to promote new recipes? Better measurement in terms of that, how we are managing pressure, temperature, other metrics of machine performance, and allow machine to adapt necessary minimum weight tolerance. Improve food safety in terms of detecting visual irregulations in the food, and if you feel that the food is not of the best quality, how do we make sure that we mitigate that? This also includes that we identify and remove any subpar or damaged ingredients. IoT and machine learning is all about managing our operation capability. How we're using machine, how much is being used, when it is time to clean the machine. Are we cleaning it too much? Is the food is somehow damaging the quality of the food? How do we get behind it? Last is not least is basically how do we manage weather and temperature for our farm, so that way, looking at the temperature, we're growing the right stuff, and that allows us to basically make sure that we can meet the demand and supply, but also focusing on the value of weather and ecosystem can offer us. Breaking down these use cases into data modeling, some of the data modeling will start focusing around is sorting in terms of getting feed from camera and different visual feeds, making sure that we have data around monitoring shapes and colors that allows our supply chain to get better. We will also start looking at combining visual information with defective state information in terms of looking at the shelf life and quality of the food. If the food is really good in the shape, is it rotten? Doing food innovation in terms of combining different ingredients to build new recipes and food options, so that we are just not offering a food to our end user, but to our consumer, but also offering them ideas to build new recipes. Focus around the values they will get out of things they are buying. Demand forecasting in terms of making sure that we are delivering the best product schedule on time, and that is also with our sentiment analysis and purchasing information. For an example, that if I know somebody who buys spinach a lot, there should be almost a forecasting that specific region would be buying a lot more spinach at this time. Or another example could be that is there's a garlic festival coming up, and then we're expecting that there will be a lot of local producers who will start using garlic to cook, make food, meal recipes, and all the stuff. That gives me a demand forecasting that we should be supplying more garlic there. I talked about soil and weather, that as we have deployed sensors in our farms, we have a lot more data to understand what is our soil condition and how we can start growing a different sort of a vegetable, which allows us to take advantage of that. I talked about food life cycle in terms of our understanding on when the food has been grown, when it has been shipped, and how much longer time it has from reaching to the store to the consumer. Can we avoid time? Can we predict our shelf life and make sure that we can avoid those food wastages? And last, which is the main important, is that sentiment, that how do we capture emotion, feedback, rating, and facial expression of our in-store customers, so that way we can start improving our offerings. As we focus on this thing and these use cases and this data, I think the biggest question will come that how we're going to measure our success. As we're looking through that, we are focusing on KPI and impact, making sure that we calculate the costs, savings, and effects on revenues, development, finance, planning for farmers. We'll start looking at the business model that way we start getting into more new market growths and new market business model, but also stay ahead of our competitive. As part of this data, we'll start building new market studies, which will allow us to sell the best product to the best service. And then the last would be the privacy guidelines, which means we are building procedures and guidelines where, as we're collecting information, we still maintain our branding and privacy of our customer, but also protect our IP. When it comes to value proposition, what will happen if we go through this whole exercise? We will have growth across 8 major areas, which is part of our objective to go through this exercises. This will allow us to improve our customer base by increasing target customer base by 68%. It will allow us to add more regions and then number of online and offline stores. In terms of operational capabilities, the data is expected to allow us our utilization to go up by 56% compared to today. Our machine downtime should be reduced by almost 2% per plant, and our cycle time will be reduced by grow and transport. And then the other thing is that 80% improvement towards a shelf life and automated data collection. The other thing we are focusing on is the market share. By collecting this data, we're expecting that we will have 13 plus new markets set up, which means data will allow us to find regions where basically we can start targeting more growth and more market segmentation. It will also give us the food demand there and then the growth, so we can target around that. And then this will also allow us to have demand forecasting, which will give us accuracy up to 87%, which means from next 3 months, we would know what food we need to grow, need to collect, need to store, so that way and which market segment we need to target so we are more profitable. By doing this, we will be able to improve our sales by 47%. And we'll target new LTV, which is lifetime value of a customer. And then we're expecting 75% improvement in sales response time. In terms of competitive edge, we will be focusing on lowering our cost structure, building higher profitability and invested capital, making sure that our brand is strong against the different competitors, and then support high customer loyalty. Focusing on the market initiatives, the data will allow us to ensure that we clearly understand our traffic from website to website and website to the leads. We would also collect data around website lead to market qualified lead. That means now we have end-to-end visibility around when customers are hitting our website, when they're ordering and when the product is being delivered, and are they coming back to buy more. Every time they're buying more, are they buying same stuff or different stuff? Does that give us a leverage to build better offering for them? That's where we see a higher value there. In terms of improvement, customer service improvements, we're expecting reduced cost of customer acquisitions by 78%, and then the customer satisfaction levels should go up by 72%. In terms of risk avoidance, we would be able to see the number of systematic risk identifiers and then resolve those. The data will also give us the percentage of process areas improved in the risk assessment. We will also be able to have some key risk monitor, and then this insights will give us an idea on how do we make sure that our metrics are converting into a risk mitigation. Overall, this will allow us to make sure that we are at least 7 to 8 times more profitable than where we stand today, but also make sure that we lead towards the digitization transformation of our offering and stay ahead in the market against our competitors. Now, we can say why we need this, and what that means for us is there's a future outlook to it. There are many companies who are already stepping into that, and they are almost at the same path where they are trying to focus on the same thing. If we don't do it, we're going to lose it. That's the reason we should be promoting this, and then we should be going full swing. When it comes to future of the food brand, this canvas will give you an idea that how different products are growing and how they are segmented in terms of branding, in terms of market growth, in terms of consumer. And we feel like that we have an advantage in our hand where we need to start collecting data to be part of this. As I talked about that some of the companies already did that, there are a few examples I wanted to share with you. Cheesecake is one company which utilized big data to drive their software processes and analyze enormous data sets from 175 locations across the US. This gives them idea to understand that which menu items are less popular than others, and they're able to manipulate and influence their customer base. Fresh Direct is using sensors and processing to analyze data from different products, and they are also focusing on the transportation. Connectra has built a tool which is basically very focused on the farming, and that allows basically farmers to collect and share more data around cattle and their health problems, which overall helps the company to basically be more focused around making sure that we are hitting the right market and right segment. And when there's a health issue, how do we not include that food or separate out that food for different reasons? The Yield company has developed a solution to monitor plant pets. KFC used big data to analyze customer feedback and food preferences, which comes up with a better experiences in sales. And you all know KFC has been doing really well on offering the food which the customer loves. And their menu has been very innovative and has been changing to meet the market demands. Pride Seed as a company is using AI to beneficial plant compounds, and the data is being used to basically bioactive, which can be added to the food to make it healthy. And they are staying ahead on basically reaching out to other organic producers, make sure that their technology is being used, their bioactives are being used into the product. And last is Qantas is one of the other company who use the data to basically start building strategies for other companies to make better decisions for marketing, sales, and pricing. Overall, this company has done what I'm proposing here is they get the data, we'll start building data modeling in terms of what does objective look like. The data will give us insights and also interpretation around that, the actions we need to take, not to just ahead, not just to survive in the market, but stay ahead for today, but also build a better future business model for tomorrow. I appreciate your time listening to me and looking forward to implement this project and then take our company to the next level. Thank you.